Hello everybody, how you doing today? It's a new day, it's a fresh day. I hope you're up, shaking and baking. All my guests are fascinating people. I did a podcast. I did an Instagram live yesterday. I said I've done 58 episodes and I've learned 58 lessons. This is my 59th episode. I am so excited interviewing Mr. Rere Obaisi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
I like the name of your business, Rehoboth. It reminds me of the Bible term Rehoboth. Was that what inspired you?
No. So Rere is from my names. The first two
Oh,
letters of my names.
oh, I
Rere
see.
Noluwa, R-E, my Edo name, which is Oyozo, J-O-H, then my surname, Obi, Obaisi. So the
Fa-
three together makes Rere.
Fantastic. But I'm sure you get that sometimes when people ask you that question. Was
Oh,
that what
a lot of people think it's real, but yeah, both of them go now.
They're all good. I know that you were once a banker before you were
Yeah,
inspired by this. You saw somebody installing some inverter thing and you got intrigued. You picked up your phone,
yeah, I got it.
googled something. You call
Mhm.
you chased your curiosity mercilessly, as it were. It was a trigger
Yeah,
moment.
that's the
I'm
one.
sure a lot of people saw those trigger moments. They didn't chase it. But look at what the Lord has done for
Mm-hmm.
you. Offices in London, you're taking over
Yeah,
Africa. Tell us a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
about, chasing that spark that looks insignificant at first. Talk to us about that, Mr. Rere.
Well, over the years, I believe sometimes I ask myself if it is inbuilt or if
Mm,
I developed it over the years, But you see, the spark. I think the magic is in recognizing the spark. Most
mm,
people can't recognize it. Most people wait for the big picture. And that's the job of if I want to go spiritual, that's the job of the Holy Spirit.
mm,
That still small voice help you recognize the spark. But the physical side of it is when you are able to, you know, understand when something is new
mm-hmm,
and what effect it can take in the near future. So for
mm-hmm.
me, what I saw was interesting to me. It wasn't initially going to. I didn't think about it as a business when I saw it. I thought about it as an
Ooh.
interesting thing. Yeah, it was interesting to me because all my life I'd seen power generation either from NEPA, they
Mm-hmm,
call it PHCN now. People have some big ass generator in their houses, pardon my English.
mm,
In those days they used to use Lister engine. Those days where you wind, it look like the old cement making or block making. I don't know if you know that if you grew up in Nigeria, you know
yes.
those those Lister engine. They use them to make blocks at the same time they use them to power houses. So
Yes.
those days, those were the things that I was used to. And I grew up in Akure. I wasn't in Lagos per se, so
Yeah.
it wasn't the exposure wasn't maximum. Yeah. So when I got to that person's house and I saw it, I was really intrigued. So there's something that can power your house
Mm-hmm.
and not make a sound.
Mm.
And that just caught me. It just caught me. The moment I got home, I was on the internet for hours. What is an inverter?
Mm.
What are batteries? What are the types of
Mm.
batteries? What companies So I used to say that I emailed, not to exaggerate, over 12 companies
Wow.
that same day. Companies all over the world, in America, in India, in China. It was after a few days the emails came back and they, connected me with some of their representatives in Nigeria. Some of them told me they are not yet in Nigeria and
Mm.
so on and so forth because it was really new then. But the solar was completely new. It was still inverters that were in the market. People
Mm.
didn't really know about solar systems then. So, and that's how I picked up the curiosity. As a matter of fact, I would say it is all God because even my closest of friends or even my parents, when I told them I'm intrigued by this thing called inverter solar and I'm thinking of turning it into a business, they all discouraged me. They thought it was
Mm.
nonsense. if some people told me in straight words that how do you intend to feed your family with this? That was what they said to me. You know, my friends, I remember, specifically, they told me that what do I think I'm doing? I should go get a better job. And my parents told me, you can't feed your family with that. You need to get something doing, And to God be the glory. I'm not only feeding my family, I'm feeding hundreds of people at the moment with this same renewable energy, So the truth about it is that I was lucky to jump on that spark. I used to tell people that when I left the banking industry, I didn't have an exact plan as to what I wanted to do. But I knew at the back of my mind that I could be more than what I am now. So I left the banking industry not with a clear plan as to what to do, but with a clear vision as to what I want my life to be like. So that, channeled me into a level of curiosity that made me look out for things. So I was sensitive, let's put it that way. It was a sensitive period. It's like have you seen when a guard dog senses danger around? The way it stands up, the way the hairs, start to tingle or stuff like that. So that period was a sensitive period for me. I was on alert. So if it was not renewable energy that came then, if it was something else,
you would have chased it. Yeah, I saw it
because I was yes, I was in the mood. I was in the phase. I was very curious. I had time on my hands. I was ready to run. I knew it was time for me to work hard. I used to say something. Yeah? The day I decided to go out of banking, I remember I was on the fourth floor in the office and I saw one of my bosses driving Camry Muscle, that they call it Camry Muscle. It was 2011 car. He had been in the banking industry for 14 years. So I said to myself, do I need to stay in the banking industry for this long for me to, be able to achieve this little thing? That was one. Number two, I remember that I was working in VI and my house was in Satellite Town, which is after Festac.
That is a serious distance. And the traffic.
Yes, I used to wake up 3:30, sometimes 4, get ready, leave the house 4:35, just to make sure I'm at the office before 7, before 8. And I used to close again and get home at between 11 and 1 p.m., depending on how bad the traffic is.
Yes.
Now I said to myself, by putting this much time
into
my personal thing,
come on, man.
I'm rest assured I will make something out of life. That time I was being paid 110,000 because they had just confirmed me as an ordinary staff, something like that. I moved from what they call probationary period. It was nothing, So I thought I could do that, and lo and behold, I was right. Because if I didn't pull out then, I know some of my bosses that pulled out after me, they were my bosses, they were already managers, and what they said to me when I pulled out was, Rere, you did the right thing. Most of those guys now are doing business. They were already managers in the banking industry. So it's the topic for this first thing we talked about is recognizing the spark. I think I would have to write that down because I'm writing a book. I have to put that down in my book. Recognizing the spark.
Yeah, I saw the book. It's very, 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 very good. What you just said reminded me of what a guy called Franz Kafka said. Let me read the quote. I like quotes a lot. They said, "Don't bend, don't water it down, don't try to make it logical." He said, "Follow your most intense obsessions mercilessly." Woo. Yeah. I thought that was really powerful. There's something else I observed when I was in researching you. You didn't have a background in renewable energy.
Not at all.
You didn't have a background in it. And then you went for it. Because what stops a lot of people sometimes, they want to have everything figured out first, in quotes, before they launch out. So
Mm-hmm.
as you were going, you were learning. Tell us about that journey of learning as you progress each step of the way.
Okay, so that's the most interesting part about my journey in the renewable energy sector.
Mm,
I'm still learning even now,
mm,
which is still part of the curiosity you talked about. You see, a lot of people, like you said, are discouraged when they don't know something, when they
mm,
don't know about something. But I'm
mm.
not that kind of person. I believe that I have a brain. I believe that that brain can do learning. I mean, if I ask you now, is there a place where, if you're a married person, is there a place where you've learned marriage? No. Is there a place
No,
where you've learned how to take care of
no,
things?
I've
No.
been married for
You get
16
into
years.
marriage and you become, yeah, you get into marriage and you get into it.
Yeah,
You get into parenthood and you get into it.
yeah,
But you survive.
yes.
And that's how I have always seen the business life. Yeah,
I
don't
like
get
that.
it wrong. There is a place for learning.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was that what people did before, I did during.
Mm,
I I I studied microbiology on first degree basis,
mm,
and when I saw renewable energy, I had no clue. I had no clue. But I understood the fact that I could put together a team that could make it work. One
mm,
thing I've always known right from time is, I mean, this became confirmed when I studied the life of Steve Jobs, right?
mm.
You don't necessarily need to know it 100%.
Yes.
You just need to know a particular aspect exceptionally well, have an idea of the other aspects,
Mm,
but getting people who know those other aspects fantastically well. So,
mm,
for example, now, I knew that for me to go into the business of renewable energy, I didn't need to know it into too much details.
mm,
I just needed to know the do's and don'ts, how to connect it, how to work it out. So what I did was get an engineer,
mm,
paid the engineer to teach me. So
mm,
each time we go for installations, I'm right there. So my first few years in the renewable industry, if people who listen to this podcast, if they remember or if they've known me for ages, they will
mm,
tell you that back in the days, I used to be on every installation site. Because
mm,
I needed, so that happened to me for the first 7 years. I was always on site, no matter I'm there studying, asking questions. After we're done installing, I'm sitting them down, taking down lessons. I'm going on the internet, reading and learning. I'm practicing with the one in my house, stuff like that. But I wasn't doing that in the open. I was the boss in quotes in the open. But behind
mm.
closed doors, I was a student.
My goodness, this is
But
powerful.
what I knew that the people that worked with me didn't know, or what I understood was I understood I was a good manager and I could make a business out of it.
Mm,
They knew how to install, but I could make good business out of it. Now, I wouldn't waste my energy just focusing on knowing how to install because I'm not going to climb your roof to put up solar
mm,
panels.
mm,
I'm going to get people to do that for me. What I needed to do is to understand that this has to be done in this certain way. That way I could monitor.
mm,
Another thing I brought into the system for me and as a person towards my company. Now
mm.
I'm separating myself and my company.
Yes.
What one thing I brought into the system, my company system, is the quality attention to details.
Mm,
Now, attention to details for me works in every aspect of my life, whether in dressing, whether in speech, whether in acquiring a property, whether in designing, whatever it is. So what I did was bring raw materials together. And I talk about raw material, I mean raw talent.
mm,
Engineers that knew what they were doing, engineers that went to school for these sort of things,
mm,
and watch them install, and then them a better way to do it. I once read this thing about Steve Jobs, where when he gives you an assignment, when you bring it to him, he asks you, "Can this be done better?
mm,
Can we do this way? Can we do it
mm,
that way?" It doesn't mean he knows exactly how to do it,
mm,
but he has an idea of how to make something better. That was how I
mm,
came into the industry. So
mm,
when I came into the industry, there were people that done engineering, that understood it, people that went to school for it. I didn't go to school for it. I learned the basics, but I focused on the most important part for me, which was the business aspect. I used to tell people before I kickstart my business, I'd read 25 business books. By the time I kickstarted, I was on 50 business books. So I'd stopped so much in the business aspect that there was no way. All I could see was how to profit from something.
Wow.
So even though I wasn't 100% into the renewable energy aspect, I was 100% into the business aspect. Wherever I am lacking, there is somebody there to shock it. So I closed the deal, we get it installed, Rere has installed it, and we'll move to the next level. And we did that for years, and now I've become a professional with installing, but regardless, I'm still not going to bring money to install. There are people who do that, you know. So to be sincere, lest I digress, if I have, it was very important for me to understand how to get requisite knowledge, how to identify where that comes from.
Yeah.
Business knowledge from business experts and books, technical knowledge from technical experts and field experience. And I combined it. And I was patient with myself. You know, when I worked in Stanbic IBTC Bank, I was in VI in Lagos. When I started Rere, I was back in Akure.
So when you left banking, you went back to Akure?
I went back to Akure. I was in Akure for 5 to 6 years.
Wait, hang on. A lot of people in the UK, in America, listen to this podcast. Now, Akure, guys, is not a primary city in Nigeria. We're talking Lagos and Abuja. Those are primary cities.
Yes,
you need to, you know, because when you look at the glory of this man right now, you can't connect. For him to have left Lagos and went back to Akure for 5 years, it's like going back to the wilderness to prepare you for where God is taking you to. That's a lot of humility, a lot of conscientiousness. So I wanted to give you guys some perspectives first before we go on.
Yeah, I had to go back.
Yeah. This is so powerful.
I knew, and to be sincere, it's called recognition. Yeah, understanding the times. I knew for a fact that if I had started what I wanted to do in Lagos, I would have shut down very early because I didn't have the capacity. So I had to go and build momentum. When I built that momentum, when I came into Lagos, in 1 year, we were already on top of Lagos in the renewable energy space. In 1 year. I came into Lagos 2017. By 2018 January, I came into Lagos 2017 May 1st, officially. By January, February 2018, we were already known. By 2019, everybody knew Rere as that renewable energy industry. We've been operating on a low key in Lagos, in but when we moved to Lagos, and by 2019, we had moved to the Lekki office. So it was a big move. You know, we were right there. We were right there in Lekki phase 1 on the express and the most in quote touch part of Lagos.
Yes.
You know? So that for me, momentum was important. So for example, now in my life at the moment, I'm gathering momentum for something.
Yeah.
If anybody, I post on social media, if anybody follows me on social media, they will see that what I'm concentrating on right now is more of family, settling, putting things together, holding series of meetings on the flow, reading books and so on, because I'm preparing for another big launch. Life is in stages.
Yes.
I was telling my board of directors and advisory board that it's time for me to take Rere up to the next mountain. And that requires my mind to be on another level. So the mind, you've not asked me about this, but the truth is the mind is my channel for traveling. The mind is my what do they call it now? It's my rocket. It's my transportation.
Beautiful.
So I'm in the process right now of upgrading my mind. When I'm done upgrading my mind, then I can take the business again to the next level. But what people do is the only thing of the maybe because they're not business people, they only think about the technical aspects. Technical is fine. I'm never going to be involved technically in my business. I will know it, but it's not my job description because I'm never going to be on the field installing windmills.
Yeah.
I will know it. But if I'm going to take the business to the next level, I'm not going to do it as a technician. I'm going to do it as a very intelligent business mind. So that being said, that's about it. That's about it. Really.
This is so powerful. This is so powerful. Speaking about Steve Jobs, Lauryn Powell Jobs' widow just put together his speeches in a book. It's a free book that just came out. I'm a bookworm myself. I'm going to send you the book immediately after that. I mean, I have a book club. We review books. I love books a lot. There's something she said. She said, everything that makes up what we call life was made by people no smarter, no more capable than we are. That our world is not fixed. And so we can change it for the better.
Oh yeah, I know that quote.
So beautiful. So beautiful. In fact, one of the beautiful lines from the book, he said, Steve Jobs' mind is never a captive of reality. When I read it to my sons, we shouted.
Oh, you've not seen, I have a quote. I'll have to go and I have a quote. I can't remember it verbatim. Can you imagine? It's my own quote. I came up with it.
Yeah.
Let me try and put it together.
Yeah.
What I said in the quote is there has to be a balance of reality and fantasy for anybody to achieve the next level or achieve. I have to look for that quote. Maybe I'll remember it before, but let me paraphrase it.
Sure.
What I was trying to say in that quote was, you could fantasize and you could be realistic. But for your reality to be a success, you have to fantasize.
Yeah.
And for your fantasy to be a success, you have to be ready to work hard. So it's all a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Most people that think they want to go to the next level, they do it by starting with a thought, right? And it's a fantasy because at the moment you don't have it.
Yes.
You sit down and you say, you know what, you want to have a company in all the in every continent in the world, right? But at that moment when you're thinking that, you are in your village, in a town in Nigeria, you are fantasizing. But if you had the requisite, what do you call it, hard work, to that sequence, and you develop your mind adequately. And when I talk about developing your mind, it goes through a lot of process.
Yes.
I'm sure you're a professional with that. I see that you're a full specialist, right?
Yes.
You have to develop your mind. If your mind is there, your body
will eventually get there. So powerful.
Your mind has to get there first. Your mind has to get there first. Once your mind is there, every other thing that makes up your being will match up to it. If your mind is not there, there's nothing you can do. You are stuck.
Fantastic.
You're stuck.
Fantastic.
So that's about it.
Wow, fantastic. Rere, so this morning, I was talking to my 10-year-old. His older brothers had gotten ready for school. They hopped on their bicycle and they've gone to school. So my 10-year-old who plays football, he was getting late for my wife to go and drop him off in school. And I said something to him. I said, Baba, you repeated the same thing like 3 Saturdays ago. You didn't get your boots ready to go for your football practice. That how you do one thing is how you do everything. I said all of that to say this. I'm not trying to blow your trumpet, but Mr. Rere, you dress very, very well. Extremely well. Cut of your suits.
Not yet.
My goodness. Your penny loafers. I mean, like a classic gentleman. That's one of the things that first caught my attention.
Thank you for
and then I think that pulls people in. And then when you now open your mouth, they match it with the intellect and like, whoa, I think that's a powerful and deadly combination. How do you, is that a transferable skill? And who were some of the people that influenced you growing up? And how has that opened doors for you? Because I mean, I interviewed a
Ah,
guy called OK. That's one of the biggest clothing stores in Dubai. He's a Nigerian. He dresses so well as well. And he had worked with Goldman. He had worked with Blackstone in New York. I mean, great guy. We're talking about the same thing. How looking good for a man, it opens certain doors, and if you can match it with your competence, it means you become a very dangerous man. So talk to us
yeah.
about that.
So so growing up, let's start from what I saw as a youngster.
Yeah.
My father was really a good, fashionable person, and he always dressed so nicely. He was quite neat, you know. All those men that will have pattern and have only
Yeah.
stuff like about
Yeah. Yeah.
my dad was very fresh. Even till now, he still pays attention to such details. So my the first glimpse I got was from him,
Wow,
you
that's
know.
so beautiful.
And then secondly, I went to Covenant University. It was as I
That's a
when we were
great
there. I
school.
don't know what I don't know what's happening now,
They
but
didn't
when
need to
we
wear
were
jeans. They used to wear jeans.
no, they don't wear
I
jeans.
had a buddy
Okay,
that went
wear
to
jeans
Ishaya Baku, went there too. A good friend of mine too. Ishaya Baku. The
when they
filmmaker.
wore jeans for the first two sets, and then they cancelled it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then and in that school we learned how to dress, right?
Mm.
They always made us, dress corporately, as it were. And then after school, I worked in a bank, and and then sorry, so one
No problem.
second.
No problem.
I got a call from one of my workers.
Yeah, so we were talking about the fact that, because of the fact that you pay a lot of attention to how you look. And people don't know that that
Okay,
skill
yeah.
is transferable, and now you are transferred it even to your business. Talk to us
Yes.
about why it's important that men, women, especially men, it's important that people see you first before they hear what you have to say. And what you may not go
Yeah.
into detail,
So
but in what circumstances that open doors for you, for people to even want to have a conversation with you? Yeah.
okay. Uh, you see, I was talking about the process that affected my outlook and dressing. I
Yeah.
also read in a couple of business books that how you dress is how you are dressed. I jokingly always tell people that when they talk about women, I say people do not when you meet a woman or when you see a woman, you do not see her character immediately.
Mm.
You do not see her goodwill immediately. You do not see uh, uh, a lot of things immediately. You can't see if she can cook, for example. You
Mm.
can't see if she makes love well. You can't see all those things.
Mm.
What you first see is the outward beauty.
Mm-hmm.
That's what attracts you to the person. It's
Mm-hmm.
after you've met the person that you start to check character, check behavior, check all those things, right?
Mm.
Same goes for business. You can't explain to so many people how good your business is
Mm.
from the outside.
I like
So
that distinction.
what they have to first see is your outlook.
Mm.
People judge based on first impression.
Yes.
You know, if the first time I'm meeting you, for example, you are rude to me,
Mm.
it would take a lot of impressions for me to correct that first impression.
Impression. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
The first impression for me in the business world is your business outlook, which
Mm.
starts with the appearance of your team.
Mm.
It goes along with the appearance of even your office.
Mm.
People jokingly call it packaging,
Mm-hmm.
but packaging is everything about business.
Mm.
Packaging is everything about optimizing profit.
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
combination of packaging and value. Some
Mm.
people have value, but they don't have packaging. And just because of their lack of sensitivity towards packaging, their value is ignored.
Yeah.
Some people have packaging, they don't have value, but they get through into some places because people recognize the packaging first. It's
Mm.
later on that they'll see this does not have value. But at that point, the person who has packaging has gotten to a certain level.
Mm. Mm.
So if you are to ask me, for example, can you have value without packaging? I will tell you packaging is important. Develop your value, but make sure that your packaging is intact before you launch. If you are only a value-driven person and you do not have the packaging to make that value look attractive, then you are wasting your time.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
There are I mean, this cuts across every aspect of business. The way Mercedes-Benz, for example, do their cars. I mean, do you go on and say, let me test the fender or the bumper of this Mercedes-Benz if it's stronger than the fender
No. Yeah.
fender and the bumper of this Toyota? You never do that. We don't even know the difference. You know
Yes.
that between me and you, and maybe the professionals in that aspect will know the difference, but a layman wouldn't. I don't know if the plastic on my Mercedes-Benz is stronger than the plastic on the Toyota. I do not know that.
Yeah.
Right? So my point is, but they've packaged the Mercedes-Benz to the point where psychologically, you just think the Mercedes-Benz is better. And then when you now drive it, which is now the value, you now see that it's better.
Yeah.
But at least it has to be attractive to the God has designed everything in the world to see with their eyes. That's how God designed everything. To see with their minds. And those things are all, I mean, this is a different topic entirely, but I can summarize with the fact that impressions are important, right? Now you're talking to me if you did not get a good impression, you wouldn't bring me on your show. There are hundreds of people that you know that do businesses, but they are not on your show. Not because you don't think they have some form of value, but because you think to a certain extent, maybe their presentation, their outlook, it doesn't match what you want with your brand. Very simple. It's all a game of how you're able to. So, I mean, there are a lot of people now that do renewable energy, but do they do it like the way Renewable is doing? No. Are they in that open space like the way Renewable is doing it? No. Do they have offices that look good? No. Do they have staffs that look good? No. Is their installation neat? No. There are a lot of details. So between me and you, my dressing is part of my packaging. Even though it comes to me naturally, but I've also identified it as a weapon. If you go somewhere, if you look well, they address you that way.
Yeah.
If you talk well, they address you that way. If you don't dress well, then before they can identify you as a valuable person, you would have suffered a lot of loss. Packaging just catalyzes your value. Let's put it that way. So yeah, dressing good is very important. Very important.
That's so powerful. If you had to start your business all over again, what role would you employ first and why?
What role? Okay, if I'm about to start my business again, I would employ a marketing strategist.
Why?
Because the prosperity of a business lays, of my aspect of business, has a lot of roots in how many people have heard about you. Whether by mouth to mouth, whether by word of mouth, whether by social media, whether by every type of media, it is important to put out the right content to attract the right set of people or to attract the right market. So for me, if I were to start this business from ground up, I will first employ I mean, technically, those questions are two different questions. So technically, what I need as a company, if I'm to start from ground up, is a good engineering team.
To get the technical part locked down.
Yes. So I'll have to break your question into two. So you permit me.
That's fine.
Who are the two the people you employ first on the technical level
Yes.
and on the business level.
Mm.
Technical level is solid quality engineering team. So that's on lockdown. Then secondly, on the business aspect, a marketing and communication strategist. That's all.
Fantastic.
With those two, I can turn the business from zero to $1 billion business immediately.
Fantastic. I mean, with the marketing guys, you get a lot of lead flow. Your technical guys delivers.
Yep.
All
Yes,
right.
that's it. That's all. And
That's
I can be the mediator between both of them.
yeah.
That's about it.
Brilliant, brilliant,
That can be
brilliant,
that's about it. That's about
brilliant.
it.
One of the things that because of my bias for sales, I always
Okay.
like asking this question and walk us through how you close your first sale in Rehob. Your first sale. And how did that make you feel when you got the alert, the credit alert in your
Oh,
phone, man? Like, bro, I made it. Mama, I made it.
so the first sale was very interesting.
Yeah,
First sale
tactically, how
was
did it happen? Yeah.
So the first sale I had to act like I've been doing it for
I
years.
love that.
I,
Fake it till you make
I
it, bro.
I went to a customer in
Uh-huh.
Akure, and I'm like, so I'll say this first. I'm an opportunist, right?
Mm.
And I'm an opportunist. So I went into that store, and then NEPA ceased power,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had to go turn on their gen. And I said to them, "Why do you have to do this? We have solar inverter systems." No, I didn't even say solar. I said we have inverter systems that can help with this break-in transmission. That a store like this needs that seamless flow of
Mm-hmm.
power.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, "Okay, what idea do you have?" I said, "Well, I have a renewable energy company." But don't forget, before I did that, I had opened the website, I'd opened an official email, and also printed a flyer,
Beautiful.
right?
Beautiful.
I'd not done a single job, but so working in the bank helped me administratively put my business together. I knew
Hmm.
how to come up with an email, how to write things, write a proper email and hand it with warm regards, kind of that. So
Mm-mm.
on the administrative aspect, I was already solid, but I was doing it from my home, from the desk in my home.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I had not done any job, but I told the customer that this is the solution that is working,
Yeah.
and we've done it in so many places, and they
Places.
are working. And the
Beautiful.
person gave us the opportunity. When I received the alert, it was amazing. It was a lot of money, even though half of that money went into, because I wasn't a professional, I had to hire a professional team to
Yeah.
come do it under my name as Real. And we got the job done successfully, and that was it. From there, it just spiraled out. My parents were my second client.
Oh,
They actually
beautiful.
paid me for their investment. They
Beautiful.
didn't do their parents, so they paid me. And from there, it's just, back then in Akure, I used to drive from the end of Akure to another end, dropping my flyers in every place, in
Come on, bro.
banks, in restaurants,
Come on,
in
bro.
everywhere. I used to drive to Lagos also. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. God sees my heart. I drive to Lagos. I park in Lekki Phase 1 in the safe zone, and I start to trek around the whole Lekki Phase 1, submitting my flyers to places. They
My
didn't allow me to drop my
goodness.
flyers in most places. I had the printout then. I left out a space for the name of the company. So when I walk to the front of the company, I look at their signboard, I see their name, then I write it.
Come
Then I
on,
give
bro.
it to them. I did that. I did that for years. I would do that and I'll travel back to Akure. It was a little safer then to go by road. I travel
Yes.
back to Akure at 7 p.m. I'll get back to my house around 10:30 p.m. in the night. I used to do that daily. I don't go to Lagos daily. I do maybe every 2 to 3 weeks Lagos. I did that for years. So first, I was my marketing agent. I was my accountant. I was my everything. The only thing I was not the engineering team.
So
Every
powerful.
other aspect I was the one doing my my what do you call it? My customer support and customer follow up. I was the
Mm.
one doing everything. It was all me
Did that
because at
generate
that
leads?
point,
Did that
that's
did
what is
that
called a
generate
start.
leads for you? That That customer
Oh, a lot of
acquisition
leads,
channel,
a lot of
that
leads.
customer acquisition channel, did it
Yeah,
generate leads for you? It
yes, it
did.
did generate leads. But one good thing about me, it did, it generated a couple of leads. One thing about me is I'm not easily discouraged.
Mm.
So even though the leads were not as I
Quality.
expected,
Mm.
but I knew for sure that all I needed was to get the
One good
right
job. Mm.
customer base,
Mm.
and that person or those people can. So I use two things to my advantage in my business world: the ability for a customer to refer a customer,
Mm-hmm.
and secondly, social media.
Word of mouth.
I used
Yeah.
to tell my wife, social media made me. She doesn't believe it now because half of I couldn't afford marketing, couldn't afford putting my stuff in newspaper, magazines, couldn't afford that. But over time on social media, when I built our business to a certain level, all those newspapers came looking for us.
Mm.
Punch, Guardian, the Newsday, everything. They came. This was barely 6 months after I moved to Lagos. I had an avalanche of interviews. So even
Beautiful.
for Lagos, Renewable Energy knew, at a point, interviews were affecting my business. I had to stop allowing interviews. I cut off interviews for a long time. So to cut the long story short, I did a lot of personal marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and that really generated leads. But I also worked on quality customers. This is what I mean. Yeah? There are some people that understand your value
Mm-hmm.
and that understand value.
Yeah.
And it's all about understanding your target market. There
Mm-hmm.
was a customer in our career that I met. She installed 5 systems.
Wow.
After that installation, I moved to a new house, bought a new car. I could set up a new office. Now, what's my point? Not everybody understands your value.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to go to where that value is appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my workers, if you say you've not made a sale this month, and if some of my sales executives, if
Mm-hmm.
you say you've not made a sales this month, it's because we're not moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
In Lagos alone, there are minimum 30 million houses in
Mm.
Lagos. Or 30 million, yeah. On an average, there are 5 million houses, and there are on an average 6 people living in a house, father,
Mm.
mother, 4 children.
Mm.
On an average, there are 30 million people living in Lagos. I said, all we need in a month is less than 15 customers out of 30 million.
Mm.
That's achievable. So I tell them, have you seen somebody who sells a Rolls Royce or a private jet and is marketing it in Oshodi? No.
Mm.
Have you seen somebody who intends to sell expensive houses in Lekki, and the person goes to those states to a market that said, no, you have
No.
to go to the right people.
Yeah.
So that's very important. I got on very early quality customers. Even up to now, we still keep a lot of quality customers. So we are not jostling for every customer in the market. We have plans to hopefully open because a lot of people want these advantages and they cannot afford it. So right now, I've had 2 meetings today with 2 different banks, trying to work out financing or payment spread for our customers. But before then, between now and when that is available to the public,
Yeah.
we are still focusing on getting those customers that understand our value. And that's about it.
Wow. This is so powerful. This has been so 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 powerful, Mr. Rere. As we begin to wrap up, round up the conversation now, I always like to ask. I know that you're a big reader, and as your business gets busy, you may not have the time to read like you used to read. But can you walk us through one or two books that were very, very instrumental to the businessman that you are today?
I'll have to think back. There were 2 books that really, there was one on entrepreneurship, The Rules of Entrepreneurship. That's the name of the
It's
book.
I think something Templar. Is that that guy? One guy that
Yeah,
writes the rules of something. Yeah.
Templar, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Templar, yes. Then there was another one that really made me find my foot. Is the something about the Trappist monks. I have to remember the title. It
Is it
keeps getting.
the monk who sold his Ferrari?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. The Business Secrets of the Trappist Monks. That's the title.
Wow, I never heard
It
that book
was
before.
it was written by August Turak.
Hmm.
It's titled The Business Secrets of the Trappist Monks. It's a
Wow.
book that I don't know why it has not become so powerful to people or become so. It's a
It's
book
not
that tells
mainstream.
you
Yeah.
how. Yeah, it's the book. I think it's mainstream really. It's the book that blew my mind.
Hmm.
It explains to you how monks religiously handle business.
Hmm.
How Jewish monks religiously handle business. So that book was really good. Uh, yeah, those two books really helped me. But yeah, I've read a lot of books between now and then.
Hmm.
Uh, for example, some weeks ago, I saw a post on social media by what they call Enchromium or something. I've forgotten the name of the company.
Okay.
They wrote um, 7 business books recommended by business experts
Hmm.
in Stanford University.
Mm-hmm.
And the next bought us 7 books from Amazon.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Because and I'm reading the first one now. It's called
Beautiful.
Connect. Right? I don't know if you can see.
Yes, I can see it. I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it.
these people from Stanford University.
Yeah, I
The
can see it.
authors
I can
wrote
see
it.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, I need again Business Secret of the Trappist Monks by August Turak. That's a very
I'm gonna check that out.
yeah. You could Google it and you find it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And the
Where do
rules of entrepreneur.
people that say, okay, I really enjoyed this conversation, I want to hear more about you, where do we direct them to? You have a training
Oh
institute,
yeah,
right? Training people on
yeah, but that's
installations.
just for installation. But we do a bit of business training after the installation. Those are part of the values we give. So we are not only training you to know how to install, we're training you to become a Rere or Bicey, make a business out of it, make a
Out of
living
it.
out of it.
Fantastic,
Some
fun.
some people know how to install, but they don't know how to make a living out of it.
That's cool.
I've made a living from renewable energy. Yeah, so I do that. For now, my website should be back. We are upgrading my website. I used to have a personal website,
Okay.
www.rereopaxi.com, but we shut it down and we are working on it. It should be back up by the end of June.
Okay.
Once it's back, people can connect with me via that. Um, they can also connect with me through my personal email, rere.obaisi@reop.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Instagram is open. If you
Yeah.
send me a message that gives value or that expects value, I'll respond. If not, I won't.
Mm. Mm.
I see all the
Fantastic.
messages that come on my social media. I see all of them. Because
Fantastic.
sometimes some people contact me and they just say things that are not relevant. But
Yeah.
yeah, if anybody wants to reach me and they have relevant things to say, yeah, of course I'll respond.
Fantastic.
That's about it. But the best way to reach me really is via my email,
Okay.
rere.obaisi@real.com.
Okay. I don't have your email. I'm gonna get it after this. So last question that
Yeah.
we always ask is, if you enjoy the conversation, you enjoy the conversation, if you could recommend an entrepreneur that you know that you feel that should be on the show, who would that entrepreneur be?
There are a lot of very intelligent people. Hmm. People have become big businessmen.
Hmm.
There is somebody, the owner of
Nod.
Nod Motors.
Okay.
Yes, his name is
Nord. I think I've seen that thing
Tolu.
on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes cars in Nigeria.
Yeah.
There's also somebody called Wale Ayelara.
Yes, Landway. I've done
He's
sales training for his company. Yeah.
so
I've done sales training for his
Landway. I
team. Yeah.
don't know him too personally,
Yeah.
but he's outstanding in what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Outstanding
talks
in
with him to
what he
come on
does.
the show. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, so those kind of people are they will give value.
Yes.
Nod is great also. Um, there are a couple of people, yeah. you could also bring in one of the piggy vest
Yes, I mean
directors.
you're just in the spirit. I've emailed her. I have I have sent her a DM because I'm a big customer of Piggyverse. I have a story around Piggyverse. I'm waiting for her to come on the show so
Yes,
I can share that my
yes,
narrative
those are
with her.
people.
Yeah.
If I have any other people, I think I can send that to you privately. But those are the ones that came to my head at the moment.
Wow. Thank you so much. So guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, drop a review, and then thank you so much. Let me just stop the recording and I continue my conversation with Mr. Rere.